Hello everybody and welcome back to Rachel and Bella Crafts. Rachel here, hope you're all well. So before I start today's video, I just wanted to say a huge massive thank you to all of our new and old subscribers and everybody that is watching our videos. I just wanted to say a massive thank you for all of the likes that you've given our videos, the comments that you're leaving, and also for just joining me on this incredible adventure. So I'm really very grateful to you all for your support. You have been amazing this month. I don't know how else to thank you. But it is my birthday today, so because it's my birthday, I'm going to treat all of you guys. There is a 50% off flash sale in our Etsy shop and on our coffee shop. So basically all digis, wherever they are 50% off for you today. So if you want to bargain, go and grab your bargains after the video. You've got to watch the video first though. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about something today. Actually, I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to be putting a bit of a signature together while I'm chatting away to you, because I've got a couple of things to show you today as well. But while I'm doing that, I just wanted to get this done as well. So I wanted to talk to you all today about the reason why you're here. So why are you a crafter? Or why are you creating journals? Why are you scrapbooking? Why are you creating cards or paper craft or basically any other art? Do you know the reason why you're here doing what you're doing? Because I often think, well, I definitely think at the moment, sometimes it's easy for us to forget the reason why we're doing something. You know, we get so caught up with, especially with our world like this, you know, we get caught up with the tutorials, we get caught up with reels. What else do we have now? We have shorts, we have reels, we have TikToks, we have tweets, we have Instagram posts, more reels and stories. Oh gosh, I sound like the guy in the cinema advert, don't I? You know, when he's stepping out of the house with his phone. But no, it's true. You know, the photographs, there's just so much information. And I think we can be inspired by it, but sometimes it can also be a little bit intimidating and maybe a little bit daunting even. So, you know, we start to doubt ourselves sometimes, I think, or we can do. We doubt our abilities, perhaps, and maybe we forget the real reason why we started doing what we're doing in the first place. So what is your why? So today I thought what I would do is I'm going to take you on a little journey with me. I'm going to take you back in time, and I'm going to take you back as much as I'm able to, back to when I started making journals 3 years ago. Because I was sat with my youngest son earlier on this evening, and he was having a quick look through my, as he does, he's like my Dr. YouTube guru. So right, let's have a look, Mum, let's see if there's anything I can do to help, that kind of thing. And he was like, oh, Mum, when did you actually start doing videos? And so we looked, and it was actually 2 years ago, this last week, on the 16th, I uploaded my first tutorial. So, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and we had a good look through, and I was looking at like the first video that I did, and yeah, it was good. It's good to go back. And it kind of, I don't know, it kind of put something in my mind, you know, and it made me think, oh yeah, that's why I was doing that, and that's why I said this, and blah, 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 blah. So I thought, right, okay, well, I needed a bit of a reminder. So I'm going to actually share with you all today, like where I've come from and how I got there. Okay, so welcome to my episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. No, I'm really joking. Really, am I joking? Right, I am really like laying myself out raw now with you guys today, because I am showing you now all of my, they didn't make the grade journals. They are the ones that have sat on the shelf at the back of the cupboard, probably since they've been created. Some are finished, some are not. Some I did for a design team project, some I did for, I don't even know what for. But yeah, they're not my proudest moment, but they are the stepping stones that have gotten me to where I am in my crafting journey now today. So I wanted to share that with you, because I get lots of messages, I get lots of comments, especially via Facebook as well. Sometimes it seems to be a lot lacking of confidence there sometimes with our guys in our Facebook community. And they, oh, you know, I'm not good enough, I'm not up at everybody else's standard yet. And I'm like, guys, the only way you get there is to just keep trying, just keep going, just keep creating. And we all had to go through those steps, because every time you make something, every time you make a mistake, every time you create a journal that you don't really love, or even the ones that you do create that you really, really love, every time you do that, you're learning and you're improving. It's like we used to say, I used to be a fitness instructor years ago, and they used to say, if you're not moving, you're not improving. And all you got to do is move. And it's the same with journaling. Just keep creating, just keep on crafting. So I'm going to show you some. Now, no laughing. I'm trusting you now not to laugh, right? Because nobody has seen these. I don't even think I've shown these to Mum. Okay, this was my first attempt at a, I think it was made from a cereal box. One of my sons loves the little Cocoa Pop bars, or he did at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm way into my chunky journaling, and I'm going to make a cover of a cereal box, and this is going to be so cool. And it just really wasn't. And it was all wrong sizes, and I made my signature too short, and I tried doing some kind of patchworky cover, and I just didn't love it. But do you know what? I wouldn't let go of it because it's one of my first journals. So the kit, the papers, I actually had free with a magazine. What do you say, free with a magazine? I think free with a magazine, it will cost a lot of money. It was a Peter Rabbit kit. So it was obviously done around the Easter time. I think this was back in 2020. And I just thought, I'm just going to have a play. I'm just going to have a go. So, you know, you've got like, hang on, shall I zoom you guys in a bit? Hold tight. I'm bringing you in. Okay, here we go. Get you in screen. There you go. Okay, so you know, I was just playing about. I had, you know, like all the basic stuff. You know how it is when I start off. I went out to the works and basically bought up what they had, and you know, the shiny washi tapes and these cute little bows. I still got some of these cute little bows, and you know, I was working out the belly band thing, and I got a journaling card in there. A little bit of, I don't know what that is in the background, collage. I clearly must have had some blue ink because I've gone crazy with blue ink. But that's okay. I was enjoying myself and I had a lot of fun. Look, it's my first little heart cluster. Remember we did those? That was way after I did these. But yeah, that was my first bit of heart pocket inspiration. And then these were my, I don't know what they are. I think they were my collage. In fact, that collage, I'm sure, has got a little bit of, what are those sticky notes? I think that's a bit of sticky note on there. This is a true junk journal. I tell you what, I don't know what half of the stuff is involved in here, but oh, it's lush. I love it. It's one of my first. And like I say, I haven't promoted it. I haven't done a flip through of it. You know, it's not my proudest moment, but I don't care. This is what got me on my journey. You know, my cute little tags. Nothing's cut straight. I had no idea what I was doing with my ink and my dauber. It was just blob, blob, blob. But it doesn't matter. It's all part of my journey. And as the pages go on, you know, you just get cuter. I mean, how can you see, you know, Peter Rabbit? You can't be disappointed in that. Now, at some stage, I must have obviously gotten fed up with doing this and it not really going the way I was hoping it would. And I must have just came to a grinding halt because I think I've gotten as far as, well, I'd created my first kit by then because that's out of our first kit. And I think, no, actually, I think, truth be told, oh, look, I even got a little notebook in there. That's cool. I think, truth be told, I think COVID hit because I was doing this in like the February, March time of 2010. Oh, it's very cute. And for some reason, it got put on the shelf and the second signature has never been touched. So maybe one day I'll pick it up and think, we can resolve that. I don't know. The spine is just too big. What do you think, guys? How can I fix that? I don't know. But anyway, that's journal number 1. Also, pre-COVID, I actually made this while I was in work one day. Quite stressed out in my previous job. And I just needed some light relief. And I thought, right, I'm going to just knock this journal together. I had all the bits in my bag. So it was lunchtime. I went into the staff room with one of the ladies who was in my team. And she was like, well, so what have you been up to then, mate? What have you been doing? I just started this junk journaling thing. Well, the printing hadn't even come out properly. And the paper was awful and shiny. But it's just really super basic. But I think it's lovely. And I've never used it. It's just sat on my shelf. I originally did it because I was going to keep it in my desk to put my passwords in work. Because hence why I went with this kind of like, you know, thingy kind of kit. But again, like I say, COVID hit and it was another thing that just got put on the shelf. It was never finished. Oh, it's a belly band. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? But it's, you know, I know it's nothing like what I would say my style is now. I don't think I ever made anything like it afterwards either, but it doesn't matter. It was all part of my learning, as no one knows collage cards. It was all part of my learning journey. And, you know, unless we kind of do these things, I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I must have had something perhaps attached to that. I don't know. Oh, I got a nice hidden tall tag in there. So I was kind of getting the idea, you know. I hadn't watched many tutorials at this point. I literally was learning from mum. I didn't have time for YouTube back then. I was literally working flat out, and yeah, this was just my this was my solace. This was what kept me sane, because I was literally losing the plot, I think, back then. Oh look, I was obviously playing about with digis as well, because that there was one of our puppies from our first batch. Oh, I can't even think what year that was now. A little while back anyway. And I'd been sent that photograph by his new owners. But yeah, oh look, I've even got a little double pocket at the back full of spare tags. I was very organised. So there we are. That is my they are my like first 2 pre-COVID journals. And bear in mind, at this point I had made 4 journals for my admin team in that job for Christmas presents. So I only hope now, looking back, that they were actually okay. Let me move those because they block in the light. Okay, after that then, we came into COVID, and I had just about a week before COVID hit discovered a huge massive craft shop up the valleys from us. It's about half an hour away, and I'd gone up there and I had picked up some wallpaper samples, and I was desperate to have a go with this wallpaper sample. So do you want me to zoom you back a bit? Is that better? There we are. Is that better? I hope you can see a bit better there now. Right, so I really wanted to try out this wallpaper sample. So I thought, well, I'm going to make something now, and I'll write in it for the lockdown. You know, it's just going to be my lockdown journal. So here we are, our lockdown story. I did start it. Oh my gosh, I was only 39 then, look. I did start it, and I did start writing in there, and I had some little, you know, bits to pull out, and I'm not quite sure what that's for. That must have been me to lean on. I had a go at collaging. Oh, found out that I was going to become a great aunt. News of that in there. You know, I had my music paper in here. I had, I'd obviously put something in there out of the way. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's photographs. I'm not sure what from. Oh, I know what that's from. Want to see what's in here? This was the weekend before lockdown. We went to, look who I met. Can you see who that is on there? That is Sir David Jason there. That is Del Boy out of Only Fools and Horses, for those of you who are a fae. So that's where I was the weekend before we all went into lockdown. I went up to meet him in London to the Only Fools and Horses convention, because my other half is a huge fan. In fact, he's off again now in a couple of weeks' time. So, but yeah, so I'd obviously written about all of that. I'd made a little notebook. This one I could already see now, looking back, was, you know, it was improving. It was getting better. So, I was picking better papers. But yeah, it was just I was still very heavy on the ink though. I mean, oh my gosh, I could have dauber action going on there. But it didn't matter, it was all part of learning. I think actually the reason I did it was because I printed this lovely digi, but it didn't fill my page, so it was all white. So I think I must have just gone, oh, let's just daub around that. But, you know, it's all part of learning. On the other side, I obviously decided to go with lace. But, oh look, there's my letter there from the Prime Minister. That was telling me I had to stay in. And so yeah, all these little things went in, and I was, you know, I was doing like a page a day kind of thing and just having a go. And then I must have been talking to my sister-in-law, I think, the one day on the phone, and she was like, oh, what have you been doing then, Rach? I said, oh, I've been, you know, having a go with my journaling. Oh, will you make me one? So, of course, my interest, my eye moved then, and then I threw myself fully then into creating one for my sister-in-law, which I then went on and did. So this kind of then came to a bit of a grinding halt. This one, I love that page. It was inspired by the rose hips, you see. But I really like that page. It's one of my favourites, that is. And I think that was it then. Again, my attention waned and off I went. And then I just never had a chance to pick it up again. So, but yeah, probably good job really, because my spine is kind of like, you wouldn't be able to take much more. I think I might actually just take the signature out the back of there. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? And then I'm just doing that. So again, that was April 2020. And then obviously I'd been asked to make my first journal for somebody else. So I made one for my sister-in-law. It was quite a big, bulky thing. Probably got some pictures somewhere. If I can find them, I'll chuck them in. You know, when I went on and looked for like little photos online, and she lived hedgehogs, so I kind of worked that in. I put some photos in of her and the children and her husband. But she liked it, and that was great. And then my son wanted one for his girlfriend, and then my other son wanted one for his girlfriend. So I got really busy that summer and just like making loads of journals for other people, which was brilliant. And it was all good practice. And then I was on Facebook, confidence starting to grow, and I was in a group, and I think it was Melody's group, and she was doing like a monthly design team thing, and I thought, I have no idea what design teams are. but I'm going to find out and I'm going to have a go because I needed to do something. My brain was overactive then. So right, come on, let's get on with this. So she asked if we wanted to do like a journal, or if I was like, oh, I'll do a journal. Yeah, that's fine. So she sent us the kit, and I can't remember which way round they were, but this is the one and this is the other. I found them both incredibly challenging. I tell you what, you think being on a design team is easy? It is not. And if you don't have any say in the kit as well, it's really not easy, because to just find inspiration, if it's not something that perhaps is a theme that you like, cooking for me, no. I hate cooking. It's not. But I challenged myself to do it. It may not have been my very best thing that I've ever come up with, but I'm still very proud of it. It was my first autumn journal, and I've hung on to it. But yeah, you know, design teams, they can be quite tough, but they also stretch you, and I feel they develop you. And I think if you've got good people running design teams, and you know, you're on a good team and you can learn from each other, and that's great. There's a real nice sense of community there then as well. But yeah, so I was on the design, I did 2 months. I might have done another one. I'm not sure what happened to that. But the one kit that she gave to us was monochrome. Is that the word I'm looking for? So it was black and white. And I was just absolutely befuddled. I did not know what to do with it. So in the end, I went with kind of making it not black and white. And I just decided to throw in a few splashes of colour. And actually, I ended up being quite pleased with the result. It taught me about colours. I had still very limited resources at the time. I couldn't visit my mother then because obviously we were in lockdown, and I was in Shielding and she was in Shielding. So, you know, those little trips up to Bella's craft room just weren't a possibility back then. This is why I treasure them so much now. But yeah, like I say, this was my first kind of go, and I asked her if it was okay to use a bit of cardstock. She said, yeah, that's fine. So I worked a little bit of colouring like that. And it was it was a lovely kit. It's great for journaling with. And it really stretched me. So I put in a few colouring pages there just to add a little bit of, as it's monochrome. I used a beautiful bead, which I thought was very pretty. So I kind of went with the kind of red and black and white theme. But yeah, so, it wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't awful. I had made worse journals. So I thought, no, I felt like starting to improve. I was starting to learn things then about like not cutting off the edges of pages and things like that. But yeah, so, and I'd managed to use some of this lovely wallpaper that I'd acquired. So that was my first design team book. And then this, I think, was the second one. And I was starting to get a bit brave then. I was like learning about things like tucks and pockets and, autumn and themes and things like that. So I was able to start working that into what I was doing. I don't think it does anything more exciting than that. Nope. And I thought, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to make a folio. So look at that. So it looks great, I'm sure. Nice, pretty, colourful, bright and everything. But yeah, I really struggled because, like I say, I'm not an enthusiastic cook. So I thought, well, this is a beautiful kit, and it really is a beautiful kit. I wanted to do it justice, So I was really keen to try the what do you call this? The cut corner style, the rounded corners. And I think it worked really well in the end. So I was very pleased with it. It's a nice, book that you can write your recipes in. So I did a savoury one and I did a sweet one. Pretty much the same thing than this. I think, yeah, there was 2 different colours. So I kind of went with the yellowy colours on this side. But yeah, so that was kind of, where I was started ahead then. So, my work was starting to get a bit neater. I wasn't quite so afraid of using like kits and things like that. I discovered digi-kits then, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was like an explosion went off in my brain. So they were my first design teams projects. Then I joined Line Dot Arrow's design team. Sadly, I don't have any journals. I didn't keep one single journal that I made for Natalie's design team because I sold them all. And the ones that I didn't sell, I gave away in giveaways. So the last one that I think the one that I really, really enjoyed was my Alice one. So I don't know if you saw that. That was my first like monthly interactive thing with you all. And we did the Alice journey. It's all about Alice. That's what we called it. And I think it was in like the July. And I let that run for a month. And then the lovely Phyllis actually won the journal. And she's now on our admin team in our Facebook group. So over time, things started to kind of I feel I was improving. I feel that things were starting to get better, and I kind of had a better idea of what I was doing. And then I joined in my first swap event. Oh my goodness, I was so nervous. Do you know what? I don't even know if I've got any pictures of the journal I made. I must have somewhere. I don't know, there might be a flip through on YouTube or something. But what I do have is the journal that I had sent to me. So I'm going to show you that next. Because I was incredibly intimidated and scared doing this. It was my first swap. And not only that, but the ladies were sharing on the Facebook group as they were going along, you know, what they were making. So I was getting like, oh my gosh, these are all really, really good. And yeah, it was just really scary. And of course, I wasn't quite sure if my style was going to be the same as the one that I was going to receive. So that made me a bit nervous as well. And then we finally came to swap and I sent mine off, and mine came and it was lovely. And you know, she put so much work into it. I'm going to really quickly show you the inside. And I'm sure this was a spring journal actually. Oh, there you go. Who did it come from? I got my wrong glass on. Oh, Carolyn. There we are. Look, Carolyn. My goodness, I completely forgotten that. So yes, you were my first swap, Carolyn. And it was a spring journal. So there we go. This must be about 2 years ago now then. So there's a fair good chance that the one I've swapped was on there. But I had the journal come and I was literally like, wow. I had never seen so many tucks, pockets, pieces of ephemera. I was just looking at things thinking, oh my gosh, what a great idea. I would never have thought of putting that in a journal. And it just blew my mind. And I learned so much. And it was just a real great opportunity to just be able to feel somebody else's materials, to be able to look at their ephemera. Because what really impressed me was the amount of original art in here. And what I mean by that is that these were all bits of things that she had gathered up and found, not just, you know, printed off the internet or what have you. You know, they had come from actual cards, or she'd cut them out of, you know, magazines and things. I mean, look at that. They were just absolutely gorgeous. And it really opened my eyes, and it kind of changed the way I looked then at putting my next journal together. So I you know, took ideas from Carolyn's journal and then was able to try them out and trial them in my own. So, you know, I just thought, oh, look, I love this. It's just so much about it, about the swap journal swaps. I just feel is a really important part of our journey, and that we shouldn't be intimidated by it, because just by seeing other people's work and just by getting the opportunity to kind of, I mean, look, I would never thought to do it out with a puzzle piece. I was just fascinated. And that is just so beautiful and so effective. And this journal is lovely for writing in. I mean, I will never write in it because my handwriting is appalling and I wouldn't want to ruin it. But if I did want to write something in there, I could pop it into all these lovely pockets that she's thoughtfully put in. Oh, it's just full of colour. This is just amazing. I'd quite forgotten I had it on my shelf and it was spring. I should have got that one out for this recent swap. So then I swapped with another lady after I swapped with Carolyn. I swapped with another lady who actually was very nervous about taking part in the swap. And I think this swap was done through, the Junk Journal UK page. And we had to do on a Paris theme. And it was actually around the time that I went and did my Paris DigiKit then, because I thought, well, if I'm going to make a journal, I may as well make a kit. So I made the kit, and then I ended up having to do 2 swaps that month because I really got into swaps then. It was like, oh yes, I can do this. And I had 2 in the same week. And then when I received this one, I was blown away. I mean, look, piano roll paper. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was just like, oh my goodness, the stuff that you end up owning because you're doing journal swaps, the things that people will send to you because they're just so inherently kind, and because everybody just loves to share their resources, and we all like to make our best, don't we? We all like to do, you know, especially when you're doing a swap, because you feel like, oh, you know, really put yourself out there. But I just was just fascinated by it, and I really loved it. And I really loved every single time I've done a journal swap, and every time I send mine off, I'm incredibly nervous. And every time I receive one back, I learn new things, and I learn new techniques, and I learn new ideas. I mean, oh, look, how cute is this? How cute. What a great idea. I love it. But again, if I hadn't had the opportunity to, you know, to just basically play, because that's what we're doing. We're just playing in other people's journaling, aren't we? Oh, look, that's so cute. I'd quite forgotten, actually, because I haven't looked at this for a little while. And I'd quite forgotten all of the cute little things in there. But yeah, it was just a real eye-opener for me. So that's that one there. And then I did a vintage journal swap. And I was really nervous about the vintage journal swap because I didn't have much vintage ephemera at the time. I wasn't quite sure the direction that I was going to go in. And I really wasn't sure what to expect. And then I received this. I did mine, obviously, sent it off. And I received this then from the lovely Sheila. And this has come all the way from Texas. And she sent me a little bundle of things with it as well, little bits of ephemera and some vintage quilt. And when this arrived and I opened it, I was in tears. It was so beautiful. I couldn't wait. Thank goodness we were out of lockdown at this point, because I could not wait to take it up and show it to Mum, because I just knew she'd love it. And she did as well. She did love it. So I'm going to show you a little bit of this beautiful journal. And this, again, just taught me so much that I didn't know about creating vintage journals. It taught me not to worry so much about whether or not I had vintage ephemera, because there was a lovely mix in here of some of it was vintage original and some of it were digis. But I had to really look hard to see that they were, because they'd been done so well, scanned and printed. And I just couldn't tell the difference. So, it was things like her collaging on the back of her journal cards absolutely fascinated me. Her layering, like I say, we can watch tutorials, you know, until the cows come home. But to actually get to hold and feel something that somebody else has made, and to see the style and to see the way that they've put it together, I just found that was really. It was a huge learning curve. And I also got over my kind of worry of, oh, what if mine's not good enough? Because everybody that enters in for a swap knows that they have no idea what they're going to receive back in return. Everybody's at different levels. Everybody's at a different stage in their crafting journey. But we're all there just to help each other out. And that's the whole point of a swap. If the person was that worried about what they were having back, they wouldn't be doing a swap. They'd be selling their journal and buying another. So you need to remember that, because that's really important. This is not about putting anyone down. It's not about, mine's better than hers and what I got wasn't as nice as the other person's. That's not what it's all about. It's about you helping other people learn. I remember doing a tutorial actually after this, because this fascinated me. I remember turning over and thinking, well, how is that attached? It's just stitched on. It's a little flip, look, that I won't lift it out because I can't get the paper clip back on. It's literally just it's the top of an envelope that she's put some really old fabric over and some vintage quilt, and she's just stitched it onto the top of the page. And that's just so effective, because it looks like a whole envelope is sat there. But it was just little things like that, you know, the stitching over the label being hanging off. What a great idea. So you can use that as a tab. So I remember going and doing that then afterwards. Just loads and loads of tips, and she had really rusty what they called, paper clips in here. And I was like, oh, that's just so lush. And then I found a video then that Tracy Fox had done showing us how to make stuff look old. I know there's a proper term for it. Buttons really got me inspired then on using buttons in my journals. I haven't done that for a while actually. I was fascinated what cardstock she'd used, and then I discovered it was Tim Holtz. I was like, oh, that's amazing, I love it. Proper vintage ephemera there now, look at that. Nice to think you own a piece then, you see. So that kind of it's the little things, the stamps. Oh my goodness, it's just everything about it. It's just lush. I just love it. I love journal swaps. It was so nice today to get up. We actually did the names this morning for our spring swap in our Facebook group. And I will be putting up the next event now later this week. But I just think they're just the best thing ever. So if you do get the opportunity to enter into a group swap, I implore you to do it, because it really helps you learn. It really helps you grow. It helps inspire you. It just gives you ideas. It motivates you. And you just get the opportunity to look at materials that you might not else see. I like to actually swap if I can from afar. So I've got one from the Philippines. I've got one from Canada. I've got one from up north in the UK. I've got one from Texas. I've got one from, where else have I sent journals? I've sent them quite far afield. Far afield? That's right. And I love the fact that my little shelf now is filling up from journals that have come over the water, and that something of mine has gone back to somebody over there as well. Because yes, okay, I create digitals and I create journals to sell, but it's also nice sometimes to just be able to just do a swap, isn't it? And because I'm terrible. I look at journals for sale and I'm like, oh, that's lovely, I'd love to buy that. And then the journaler in me kicks in and I'm like, Rich, come on, really, you should have a go at doing that yourself. But there's nothing like it. There really isn't nothing like it, to just be able to feel someone else's work, to see their inspiration and just their talent. So yeah, definitely, if you get the opportunity, have it. Well, make the opportunity, come and join in our next swap. So this is another one of my what should we call this? It was an experiment. Yes, an experiment, we call it that. Okay, so this was something I tried a little while ago, and I thought, well, another wallpaper. Look, it was inspired by the wallpaper, actually. I just wanted to try what would happen if I stuck with 12 by 12 and fold it in half and then put everything in their A4. I haven't come back. That's actually some of my reject handmade paper when I was doing that back in the summer. But I haven't done anything with it. It doesn't matter, but I was just actually learning how to layer papers. And I actually thought, do you know what, that looks really effective. Because the one thing that Bella does lots of things well, but the one thing she does really well is the way she puts her signatures together and the way she layers the papers. And it just makes it look so interesting. And that's what I was practicing doing here. But that was literally my sole purpose of putting this journal together, was to practice folding papers and you know, putting a signature together. Even the broken ones, you will see it again. I put washi tape on them. So and I don't know, I just found it got me out of a bit of a slump, because I was a bit like, oh, what do I do next? I think I did that in an afternoon and really, really enjoyed it. So that's kind of my journal journey. I'm not going to show you all the good ones I've done, because I know I've done some good ones, and I've done some ones I'm really, really proud of. And they're probably the ones that I sold. But I'm not going to show you those, because you've seen all those. They're the ones that I put all over Instagram, and I've done flip-throughs of, and I've done, you know, talked about and waffled on. But no, sometimes you just need to kind of focus on the other stuff, the stuff that got you there, because it's not just all about the things that we make and that are really, really good. So another part of my journey that I was really lacking in confidence with was doing tutorials, actually. You would never think that now, the way I'm yakking on. But it actually took a lot for me to start doing talkies, as we call them, because I was just terrified. And I have Natalie from Line.Arrow to thank for me making a start, because I was on her design team at the time, and she was like, Rachel, why are you not doing tutorials? Come on, let's get you doing some tutorials, you'd be brilliant, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, I don't think so. And she was like, you would, I promise you. So I eventually decided to have a go. I think the first talking video I did, I was actually introducing a new kit that I'd done. But it was terrifying. It still is terrifying sometimes. Trying to find ideas is terrifying. Trying to keep you guys motivated is terrifying. But I just had to do it and have a go. And then, you know, you kind of like got to get out into the community and you got to share it with everybody, and that was quite scary, because you don't always get great feedback, and sometimes you get some kickbacks from within the community, which can be a bit off-putting. And that's kind of what inspired me then to go down the route of starting the collaborations. And I thought, you know what, I really found it very hard when I first started out, and if there'd been like somebody there helping me, mentoring me perhaps, it might have been a bit easier, and I might have, you know, and it, like I say, if it wasn't for the fact that I had Natalie's encouragement, I don't think I would ever have done it. So, you know, I was very grateful to her for that. So that's why we started doing the collaborations. And the idea of the collaborations was to help small channels launch, and to help them kind of grow in confidence, and to get, you know, kickstart and get them off the ground, kind of thing. And I, you know, that has kind of, I feel, fostered a real further sense of community within you know, our groups and within our you know, online communities. And it's great because I'm now part of this like huge family now, and they're an amazingly, incredibly talented family, actually. Aren't I lucky? And yeah, I just love it. I absolutely love the collaborations. I love the response we get from you guys. I love hearing back from all of the collaborators, and how much they enjoy it, and how much they love having you guys interacting with them, and you leaving them comments, and then their subscription numbers go up, and oh, it's just brilliant. The whole month is just a joy. And that's really kind of like making it all worthwhile. And like I say, it just reminds me of my why, of why I'm doing that then. So what I want you guys to do today is to ask yourself, what is my why? What is your purpose for journaling? Is it, I don't know, did you start doing it for well-being? Did you do it to help reduce maybe anxiety? You know, were you low? Were you suffering from depression? Were you lonely and were looking for community? Were you doing it because you wanted to find a hobby? Maybe children have left home, they've grown up, you've found yourself with a little bit of time on your hands, which is like, whoa, what do I do with this? Time, what does that feel like? Is it that you needed to earn an extra income? You know, that's very much the tale for some of us. Did you do it to make gifts for people? Do you you know, use your crafting to send presents to people and, you know, birthday gifts, Christmas presents? Or did you do it as a way to maybe express yourself, express your creativity, express the way that you're feeling? I don't know, maybe you like journaling and you wanted something to journal in. You know, what is your why? What is your reason for picking this up? You know, what is your purpose for kind of like being there now, listening to me yabbering away? Because I think once we harness that reason and we go back to that, it kind of, it centers you again. It kind of, you start to block all the other noise out. And there is a lot of noise. Like I say, there's a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of, sometimes we get overstimulated with all of the inspiration. And sometimes inspiration then can lead to you feeling overwhelmed. So whatever your reason is for creating and crafting, hold on to it tight and make it your intention. I want you to type it up, write it out, put it somewhere, but print it out and hang it in your craft room on the wall. Have it up in front of you on your desk, on your pinboard, you know, wherever you're sat and you're looking, wherever you're sat and you'll have those moments where you just start to doubt yourself and you just think, I don't know, is mine as good as that picture I saw on Instagram this morning, or Pinterest? Is that perhaps where all the pictures go? Yeah. You know, can I cut it? You know, do I bother carrying on? Because I hear that a lot from people and that really makes me very sad. I would hate to think anybody feels like that. Especially when we feel, from what we're doing on this side of the camera, is to inspire you to have a go. So I want you to realise one thing today, that this is my journey. This is where I've come from. I had zero talent or skill to bring to this. I think as I said a couple of weeks ago, the last thing I'd done was card making back when my oldest was the tiniest little baby, like 20 years ago. And I hadn't had a chance to do anything since then. So I was, yeah, very raw, very wet around the edges coming to this. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. You can all do it. You can all do whatever it is you're trying to achieve. But just find your intention. Remember your why. Remember the reason you're doing it. And then tell yourself, this is why I craft. And that you need to do that for you. It needs to be your reason to be here. Your reason to be here watching us. Your reason to be here crafting along. I hope you've been crafting along. I hope I haven't been rabbiting too loudly and irritatingly. Now, before you go, just one other thing I want to say. There is a video gone up today from Rose, Journals in Time, and she has given us 20 tips on how to find your mojo. So maybe you're not lacking in confidence, maybe you're just lacking in inspiration and you don't know how to get that back. Go and watch her video. In fact, I'm going to put it on. It should come up now at the end of mine. I'm going to try and see if I can link hers to mine. Go and watch her video. Go and listen to what Rose has to tell you. Listen to her story and listen to how she's overcome her barriers, her hurdles, and see if that gives you some inspiration. I'm going to leave it there today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. And just have a wonderful, wonderful crafty day. See you all very soon. Take care. Bye now.